The mass of papaya produced in an orchard have a normal distribution with a mean of 840 grams and a standard deviation of 24 grams. The papaya with masses between 812 grams and 882 grams will be exported overseas, while papaya that weigh 812 grams or less will be sold at the local market. Find the probability that a papaya chosen at random to be exported overseas. The number of papaya which are not exported overseas and not sold in the local market if the orchard produces 2,500 papaya.
Okay. First of all, what is the variable involved? The variable involved is the mass of papaya. So the continuous random variable, x is the mass of papaya. This mass of papaya is distributed normally. So when we think about normal distribution, there are two parameters involved. They are the mean and the variance. So how much is the mean? 840. So I write down x is distributed normally with mean 840, variance, oh this one typed wrongly, 24 square. Okay, so they say the standard deviation is 24. If the standard deviation is 24, then the variance is 24 square. In this format, you have to put down the variance, 24 square. But in the conversion formula, it involves only the standard deviation, no variance. But in this form, you have to put the variance, right? That is the standard way of writing. So you just follow standard way of writing. Don't put 24 there if you want to use this notation. If you want to use this notation, normal, bracket, and so on, you have to put variance. But if you are using the formula, then you use standard deviation. Okay, right. Now we come to the question. I copy down the mean and the standard deviation. Now the question is, papaya with mass between 812 and 882 will be exported overseas. So this is the first category of papayas. The second category is weigh less 812 or less. So this second category is sold locally. So whether they are sold locally or exported, we don't care. We just want to know there are two categories, right? Okay. The question is find the probability that the papaya chosen at random to be exported overseas. Chosen at random to be exported overseas is the first category between 812 and 882. And we want to find the probability. So this is the case where you don't need to use the table. You are given the z-score, you find the probability. This one you can use the calculator. So how to use the calculator? First of all, we write down as the x distribution, then we convert to the z distribution, then only we can use the calculator, right? Okay, so the x distribution is the probability of exported one. The probability of exported papaya is the probability between 812 and 882. So these numbers in the x we cannot use inside the calculator. So we have to use the formula and convert them into z-score. The formula is x minus mu divided by sigma. X minus mu divided by sigma. So the number on the left hand side is negative 1.167. Number on the right is 1.75. So we want to find what is the probability that the Z lies between these two numbers. Okay. Now you can either use calculator, use the P function or the R function. It's up to you, right? So if you use the R function, you use the smaller number R minus the bigger number R. Then you get the in between. If you use the P function inside the calculator, then you use the bigger number P minus the smaller number P, right? So this using calculator, I don't have to show because only the table is difficult. Use calculator, you just type lah. So the answer is, the probability is 0.8383. Okay, so this is it. The second part, number of papayas which are not exported overseas, not sold in the local market if the orchard produce 2,500 papaya. Now we are not going to find the number yet. We try to find the probability first. From the probability, then we calculate the number, right? So what they want, not exported and not sold locally. So we have to find the probability not exported and not sold locally. Now, not exported we have found already. How about sold locally? The probability that sold locally. A probability that is sold locally, right? We want to find. We want to find the probability that is sold locally. So the probability sold locally is the probability of the mass between less than 812. So the probability of sold locally is probability less than 812. In the X distribution, we cannot find the probability. So we have to convert it to Z distribution in order to find the probability. So to convert it to the Z distribution, you use 2812 minus 840 divided by 24. So we know the Z score is negative 1.167. Because we want to find the probability less than negative 1.167, using the calculator, you have to use the P function. Remember the three functions or not? P, Q, and R. So we now use the P. Less than, we use the P. Greater than, we use the R. So we use the P function inside the calculator, but you don't write down this step in the exam. Right? You don't show them the function inside the calculator because they may think that the P here means probability. They don't know that the P here means the function inside your calculator. I write down this step because I want to tell you use this function inside the calculator. But in the exam, you don't show this step. So using the calculator, I type negative 1.167 and I get the probability 0.1216. Now I have found out the probability of exported and sold locally, two of them. But the actual question said they don't want these two. Don't want, then I have to use 1 minus these two probability. I want to find the complement. Okay, the complement of these two. So to find the probability of not sold locally and not exported. So I want to find this one. So the probability of not sold locally and not exported. So I have to use 1 minus both probabilities. minus. This is minus. I have to minus both probability. Sometimes typing mistake. Okay, this one is the typing mistake. So you use 1 minus this and minus it. So the probability left behind is the probability that the papaya is not sold locally and also not exported. Okay, but they want the number. Okay, they want the number. From probability, we want to convert to numbers. Okay, so this probability 0.0401, you multiply with the total number of papayas 2,500, that will be the number of papayas not sold locally and also not exported. Any question?